The rotten core of MAGA, Trump's lies, hypocrisy, and echoes of tyranny. Donald Trump is a con man with a megaphone, a carnival barker who's turned the American dream into a grotesque funhouse mirror. His MAGA movement, draped in red hats and soaked in nostalgia for a past that never existed, thrives on a toxic stew of lies, fabrications, and hypocrisy so blatant it'd make a snake oil salesman blush. But this isn't just a circus act gone wrong. Look closer and you'll see the shadows of history's ugliest ghosts, the rise of Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany and the slave-owning rebels of the Confederate South. Trump's ascent isn't just a fluke, it's a playbook, ripped from the pages of demagogues and oppressors who turned fear into power and division into domination. The big lie, Trump's Mein Kampf moment. Hitler didn't storm into power with tanks, he slithered in with words. His big lie, the myth of a Jewish conspiracy stabbing Germany in the back, gave the masses a scapegoat and a savior in one breath. Trump's version. The 2020 election was stolen, a fabrication so audacious it's become gospel to millions. Never mind the courts, the recounts, the lack of evidence. Truth is irrelevant when the lie is loud enough. Like Hitler, Trump knows the masses don't fact-check. They feel. And he's fed them a steady diet of resentment, fear, and fury, turning democracy into a punching bag. The January 6th Capitol riot wasn't an aberration. It was his beer hall putsch, a failed grab at power that only emboldened his cult. The Nazis didn't win by majority vote at first either. In 1928, they scraped by with 6% of the electorate, a fringe mob of loudmouths. But by 1932, with lies as their jet fuel, they'd clawed their way to a plurality, convincing enough Germans that their nation's woes were someone else's fault. Trump's rise mirrors this. A reality TV huckster who hijacked a party, turned rallies into revival meetings, and made Make America Great Again a dog whistle for white grievance. Both men preyed on the desperate, the disillusioned, promising to resurrect a mythical golden age while pointing fingers at outsiders, Jews for Hitler, immigrants and elites for Trump. The rhetoric's different, but the stench is the same. Hypocrisy as a weapon, MAGA's Confederate soul. If Trump's lies are the spark, MAGA's hypocrisy is the gasoline. They scream law and order while cheering a man who incites violence, dodges taxes, and brags about groping women. They clutch Bibles while idolizing a thrice-married adulterer who can't quote a verse. They wave flags and claim patriotism, yet defend a Confederacy nostalgia that spits on the Union's blood-soaked victory. This isn't new. It's the South's old rebel yell, dressed up in modern threads. The slave-owning Confederates built their world on a lie, too. That human bondage was a noble cause, a heritage worth dying for. They cloaked their barbarism in states' rights rhetoric, pretending it wasn't about chaining black bodies to cotton fields. MAGA's the same, draping their racism in border security and America first, as if caging migrant kids and banning Muslims isn't just the latest verse of an old hateful hymn. Trump's their Jefferson Davis, a puffed-up figurehead for a cause that's all glittering facade and rotting core. Both movements fetishize freedom while trampling it. Freedom for them meant owning people. For MAGA, it's owning the narrative, facts be damned. The cult of the strongman, from Weimar to Washington. Hitler didn't topple the Weimar Republic alone. He had enablers. Conservative elites thought they could harness his populism, leash the political nincompoop to their agenda. They were wrong. Once chancellor, he gutted democracy faster than you can say enabling act. Trump's GOP accomplices, McConnell, Cruz, Graham, played the same game, kissing the ring of a man they once called a clown, thinking they'd ride his coattails without getting burned. Now they're Trumpists, parroting his lies, terrified of his base. Like Hindenburg's cronies, they've unleashed a monster they can't control. The parallels don't stop there. Hitler's rallies were theater, screaming crowds, swastikas, a messiah promising to purge the vermin. Trump's are a circus, red hats, bombast, a showman vowing to drain the swamp while filling it with cronies. Both turned politics into performance art, whipping followers into a frenzy where loyalty trumps reason. Hitler's Lügenpresse, his lying press, became Trump's fake news, a battering ram against scrutiny, and both leaned on violence. Nazi stormtroopers beat dissenters. MAGA diehards stormed the Capitol, hunting lawmakers. The intent's the same, silence the opposition, by force if needed. The visceral truth, a nation on the brink. This isn't academic, it's gut-wrenching. Trump's America feels like Germany teetering in 1932, or the South in 1860, moments when lies and hate tipped the scales toward chaos. His movement isn't about policy. It's about power, raw, unapologetic, built on the backs of the deceived. The MAGA faithful aren't just voters. They're disciples, blind to the hypocrisy, drunk on the lies, ready to burn it all down for their golden-haired god. Hitler's followers didn't see the death camps coming. The Confederates didn't foresee the ruin. What's MAGA's endgame? Deportation camps? A dictator for a day who never leaves? Trump's no Hitler, yet. He's no Davis either. Slavery's not his trade. But the similarities aren't coincidence. He's a liar who thrives on division, a hypocrite who cloaks tyranny in greatness, a demagogue who'd rather rule a rubble heap than share a thriving nation. MAGA's not a movement, it's a malignancy eating at America's soul. History's screaming the warning. We've seen this before. The Nazis rose, the South rebelled. Both ended in ashes. If we don't rip this cancer out, Trump's America might too.